So to demonstrate the 150 spring, the 150 spring is going to give a lot more crisper sound in action, and it's a little bit hard to put in. Just by the way, this is I think it's Garter or something. It's on Airsoft Atlanta 150 recoil spring, but this is a 1911. It's for 1911. That, I don't know. They have the P226, but I didn't get it because this 150 1911 recoil spring, someone with KWA forums told me that that's what they used on their M226, and it worked a lot better. Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. It might be easier. Now, for the stock spring, it's not really a big deal. But for this 150, if you get a 150 or upgraded recoil spring, just take this portion out and put this one in first. Make sure, as you can see right there, pull this back and then lift up, and make sure this thing right here pulls forward, and it looks like this, if that makes any sense. Okay, here's the up position that didn't work with the stock spring. See that? If you get the M226, you might experience slide problems, but who knows. Another thing is the new KWA M226. It has like a protruding orange tip on it. The outer barrel is the outer barrel is a little bit longer than the original M226, because the original had orange paint along the slide. But if you want to take that off, what you're going to want to do is, this outer barrel is basically going to be a little bit longer. What I used was a Dremel with like a saw or attachment or whatever it is, and basically just cut it off to just cut it to where you have a little bit, like an itsy little bit of orange strip still there, and then for the rest of that orange strip, just sand it down with sandpaper and make sure it's flush, and it'll work good. Take your inner barrel out first though. Make sure you're doing it with just the outer barrel, because you don't want to get your inner barrel dirty, the debris and all that. But other than that, keep the gun's rails and all that really dry. Just keep it all dry and let the gas, the green gas, the silicone oil in that, it will do its job. If you have green gas, boom, fill it up. As you're shooting, green gas is going to circulate, relube the oil rings and all that crap. If you have propane, one drop or some kind of light shock oil that used in RC cars, put it in there, shooting it, it's going to do good. So if you have any questions, comment below. Another thing about the KWA M226 is a lot of users on the old and new version have experienced the back sight coming off. I don't know what holds it on when they make it or whatever, but there was no screw holding it on or anything, so I guess it was some kind of adhesive material that they were using. But mine came off on this new one with the trays, and what I did was just use Gorilla Glue to put it back on, and that's what Spiggy, if that's how you say his name, from the technical forums or the forums on KWA, says to do, and it's worked good so far, so whatever, it doesn't really bother me. Other than that, from my review of this gun, you know that the slide is like an aluminum, the outer barrel part is polymer, the bottom part is metal, and the grips are like some kind of polymer, textured polymer. Feel good. As the P226 is one of the most hand-fitting guns I've ever used. But there's not much maintenance or anything like that to this gun. I mean, it's a pistol, but you got your recoil spring you can upgrade. It will provide a little bit more kickback, not much. That's about it. And then the recoil hammer, and there's not much. There's not many upgrades for a pistol. But the other thing I was gonna say was that most guns or the gas blowbacks, I asked a Lizard or whatever his name is on the KWA forums, that I asked him about when the gun gets cold, it having slide problems, like basically not cycling all the way when you're shooting it, and like for instance, say I'm shooting it, it stops like right there, something like that, and then you have to like forward assist it with your hand. I don't know. He says that it's sort of normal when it gets really cold, and I mean really cold, not just normal cold. I was using this as a primary. It takes quite a bit of mag refills to get that to the point where it doesn't really cycle good. But all in all, just keep the rails dry. And that's the thing about the stock. I mean the slide not cycling good. That's only with the stock spring. If you put a 150% spring in there, it will. I have not experienced any problems with a 150 spring. It cycles perfect and everything, no matter how cold it gets. But here's the one downside: when you're shooting the gun and it runs out of BBs, it's not going to, like, it's out of BBs. It's not going to lock back like that. It's just going to keep shooting. So that's the one downside, is it will not lock back. The bolt catch will not function, and it might be because the spring's too tense or whatever, but I don't know. But you have to decide if you want your slide, messing up, and have the bolt catch working, I guess, to a point, or if you want the gun to work fully at all times and have no bolt catch. I don't really care about bolt catch, especially because most pistols, because of the capacity, because how small they are, it's not going to hold much gas. So I usually only get like one mag out of one fill. Sometimes I get a little bit more, but for the most part it's just one. So yeah, this has been a maintenance guide and how-to for the KWA M226.